Heyo, it's me, Harper Savage, and it's time for another episode of How Much Art Can You Make by Chantel Arts. Today we're going to be starting with Why Not Simple? Fill this entire page with as few details as possible. As you can see, I have a sketch here. So let me grab some supplies and we can get started. So for the prompt, I decided to draw Brie Brulee, my puppy, in my chibi art style, the same style that you see the graphics in of me and Chi on my channel. I wanted to wait until she was closer to a year old before I did anything of her in this art style, just in case she changed at all, like her ear popped up really late for her breed, for example. And I'm going to be going in with my woodless Koh-i-Noor colored pencils. Now, if you don't know what woodless means, it means there is no wood casing around the pigment. The entire thing is pigment. So they're super heavy and they're not like the greatest color pencil ever to color with, but they feel really nice, in my opinion. They are not good on smooth papers, though, in case you are wondering. And yes, that black one is taped up because I broke it. I'm pretty sure I broke it in my hand. It wasn't a matter of it fell. I definitely was pushing too hard on a project and it snapped. And because they're woodless, you don't want to waste them. So I just taped it back together and I'm gonna deal with that when it gets closer to that breaking point. So Brie's color scheme, or color theme, whatever you want to call it, is purple. So I decided to do an under layer of purple on her black spots just to make it so I wasn't only coloring black and pink on this page. I know it's like about being simple and all that, but I just wanted to give it a little flavor, you know, a little something. Which brings me to my question of this section here. Is coloring in a special way, like shading and like layering like details and not simple? Like, does that mean I'm cheating a little bit? I don't know. You tell me. How do you feel about what I did? I also added a little bit of pink to her like white parts because her fur is very, very short, so you can still see her pinkness through her white fur at least. And you can see whenever she gets hurt, because she runs into things, and also Chi plays with her. So she gets little pricks here and there. In real life, her eyes are actually really dark. They're almost black. I did think they were black or dark gray until I saw her eyes in the sunlight, and they're just really dark brown. I made them lighter because, you know, contrast when it comes to art and stuff is important, even if it's not super realistic. Which, again, this is my chibi style. It is not realistic at all. Now, some changes I would make to this in the future would probably be making her head, like, a little bit shorter. I just feel like it looks too long. Her eyes are so far down, making her look like she has a 5 head. And she doesn't in real life. I was just trying to make her head look like a slightly different shape than how I would draw Peanut's head. Peanut was a bigger, bulkier dog. Brie is a tiny Jack Russell Fox Terrier mix. So she's got like a slimmer face, and that's what I was going for, and not realizing how elongated her head ended up looking when I was trying to thin her out. Now for the left side, I'm not going to leave it blank. I'm actually going to get out my sister's selfie Canon printer. It's a mini printer. Prints on little photo papers, and I'm going to print out a picture of Brie, and I'm actually going to be printing out the exact reference I was using when I was doing the chibi sketch. And it's just like so cool how it does its own little thingy. Now we've had this printer for over a year and we've barely used it, and I'm thinking about setting it up in like a room here so we remember to use it more. But yeah, it's so cool how it just prints out all nice like that. Alright, I love how it turned out. So cute. Next, we're moving on to what is opposite. Create something totally different. And for that, I'm going to need more paper. I don't know if you can tell, but I literally only drew a circle. And for this prompt, I'm going to try to use my grabby watercolors for this. I just want to see if regular watercolors will work on this paper in a nice way like my watercolor inks did. So let's get to painting. Just kidding, we're going to do a little bit of line work first to outline this circle. I did half of it in blue and half of it in orange. And I'm going to start on the left side. I'm going to be doing a wet on wet technique with the watercolors. Now, I don't know if it was obvious yet, but my opposites are going to be night and day. It was the first thing I thought of and the only thing I could think of after I thought of it, because people always say it's like night and day when comparing opposite things. And to be honest with you, when I was doing the night side, I thought it was going to dry darker and it wasn't. So that's why I went in and added black just to make it look a bit more moody and dark. I'll let you guys look at that satisfying peel. So nice. And I just stuck the same washi tape down to start painting the sun side. And I'm going for a sunset sunrise look on this side, just because I didn't want to add blue onto the side because it wouldn't look opposite enough for me. And I also am painting in like a ray formation where it's coming out from the circle instead of like just mixing the background up like I did on the moon side, to really drive home that this is the sun. And I like how it ended up being like cool colors versus warm colors also, you know, showing more oppositeness. And at the end of the sun part, I did fleck in some like red and orange colors closer to the circle just to hide the fact that I couldn't blend it, really. And now I'm going to go in with a colored liner on the moon side, and I decided to do this curvy shape. I'm not sure what it's called, but I've seen it before. Let me know if it has like a proper name for what I'm doing in the centers here. Now, before we get too far, I want to talk about how the watercolor worked on this paper. I say it's not the best. I think it works about the same as the ink watercolors do, where it's not like super gonna blend together nicely and you'll see strokes and stuff just because this paper is not meant for watercolor. But again, I chose this paper because it's super thin and can handle a lot of mediums. And that way my book won't get too bulky by the time we're like at the end of it. Now, you saw me coloring in those stripes with the ink pen liner at first, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I should do something else. And I found my grabby dual tip. I forget what they're called exactly, but it's a paint marker. And it's not that I don't like them, it's just their nibs like fray. So I'm trying to use those up as fast as possible, even faster than my Posca markers, because I don't like the Posca markers that much either. But at least those get the job done, you know what I mean? Poscas explode, but their nibs don't fray like crazy. At least so far, from my experience. And I decided to go in with a lighter pen around all the curves I made, just so we can see the different stripes where I like put two of the dark blue ones too close together. And I thought it'd be more fun to look at that way, having defining lines between each section. Now on the sun side, oi, I didn't really know what to do for the sun side, but I wanted it to be similar. So I did this pointy diamond shape. I thought I was going to do more of a crystal kind of thing at first, but I just did not do it right. And it's kind of like a mandala without being a mandala. Like, it's awful, to be honest with you. It's not even at all. I clearly went into this section without a plan. I knew what I wanted to do for the moon right away, but had no idea what I was doing on the sun side. But I decided to try to do the stripey thing on this side too that I did with like the curves on the other side, but in a diamond formation. And I decided to start from the outside because I knew I wanted to color like the very edge of it. So on the moon side, I started from the center, and on this side, I started from the outer part. It has nothing to do with being opposite, that's just the way I wanted to do it. And because the oranges were too close to each other like they were on the moon side, I will also be outlining the sun side as well. And you will also see that there are some lines there that kind of disappear because I took out a white paint pen to fix the design up a little bit on the sun side, but not too much. I decided for the sun's outlines it was going to be red, so that way it would be even more opposite than the moon side where it was lighter line work. I decided to make the line work darker on the sun side. So I'm just making it as opposite as possible. And because I felt like it still seemed a little unfinished, I went ahead and I grabbed some of my metallic paint markers and I did some stars on the moon side in silver, where I just did flecks and cross shapes on that side. I didn't want to go too extreme. And on the sun side, I grabbed my gold marker and I did more sun rays because I feel like that was the only thing I could have done that kind of matched the moon side without actually matching it. And I finished it off by outlining the sun with gold and the moon with silver because I felt like they needed to pop a little bit more too at the end after I did all the metallic in the backgrounds. And I added some finishing touches before cutting it all out and slapping it into the book. And so this one turned out. And we have whose tattoo is this? Design a tattoo on this page. As you can see, it's sketched out on this page, so we're going to be working directly in the book. So let me get my supplies and we can get started. So I just grabbed a collection of neon things and I'm going to see where we go from there. So I go ahead and outline the hand and get right into some colored lines for the Triforce. If you couldn't tell, I'm a Zelda fan. And I lightly erase the rest of the pencil lines that I had there just because the neon colors that I picked out show the pencil through it and then I can't erase it. It's like a whole thing. And that hand is, you know, my hand if it wasn't obvious from the watch at least, and the squared off nails because I don't like doing stuff with my nails. I just like cut them straight across. And I really liked the idea of having like sparkles and glitter and stuff on my hands. And I wanted it to look like I was like dipping my hand into like a bucket of sparkles. That's why it's like kind of off to the side of the hand instead of it being like even across, because I think that would be really cool. And if you didn't notice, I did do this like really out of order for how I normally do the process, where it's like I would do all of the line work at once and then the coloring and then the line work again. I was avoiding that dragon there because I didn't know how I wanted to color her at all. So that's why I do the entire left page first and then I move on to the right side. And to be honest with you, when I was picking out the supplies for this prompt, I didn't even think about coloring in my hand. It was like the last thing on my mind. I'm like, oh wait, shouldn't I do something with this? So I decided coloring with an alcohol marker would be the quickest, and then doing shadows with color pencil. And then the Hoo-Hoo marker wasn't exactly even on the back of the hand part, so I do touch it up later on between shots with a color pencil. Yeah, I figured if I laid down a skin tone, it would also give it a bit more of an accurate look if I were to get neon tattoos in real life. I also don't know if neon tattoos are a real thing. I've seen very brightly colored tattoos before, but I don't know if neon would even last or if it's like difficult to do. I also don't know if having a hand tattoo is the worst place to get a tattoo or not. I didn't do any research. These are just things I've always wanted. Maybe someday if I ever have extra money. But anyways, I do color in most of the bigger diamonds with color pencil, except for the purple, because I didn't have any neon looking purples. So I had to use like a highlighter. It doesn't look the worst, but it's not my favorite. And also, I did avoid using, except for the Triforce, yellow and green in neon, just because I don't think they would look good against my skin complexion. So that's why they're not there. And also, I have more orange than the other colors because orange is my favorite color. So now I'm finally starting on what is called the Light Dragon. She is from Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, if you're unaware. It's my like cuter-ish version of her, not super detailed at all. And honestly, I don't think I would get this exact tattoo. It's just I felt like I was a little bit put on the spot by this prompt and I don't know why. So it's not like I would get this tattoo exactly, it's just the concept of it that I would really like. And I decided to stick with neon colors, and that made it hard for me to decide what color goes where because she's not a neon dragon. She's got like this grayish brownish skin underneath and on her face, and then the rest of her is like white, and her like main thing is yellow. Maybe you've seen the Light Dragon before and I'm just over explaining this part, but usually for white stuff, I like to outline it in blue or like a purple color. So that's why I was struggling, and I got out the teal to outline most of her body, and I don't love that, but it is given like Spirited Away, you know what I mean? So it's not the worst choice in the world. And as I feared, the yellow basically is hard to see on camera, so it looks like I'm almost doing nothing on her scales there, but I'm just like doing a very loose scale pattern across her white parts of her. And I use color pencils to shade in a little bit, very lightly, because I'm not sure exactly what I would do for this tattoo. I'm thinking it would definitely be neon themed if it was on my left arm to go with the neon stars and stuff. I think that'd be really cool. And I think if I got the Light Dragon, I should also get the Demon Lord Dragon with the really long title too on my other arm, maybe. I don't know. These are all like very future plans because, you know, tattoos cost money and I like need other things that are a bit more important than body art, unfortunately. And again, with the lacking purple, like a neon looking purple, so I had to color it in pink instead. So that's like not exactly what I would have gone for if I had the right colors, but I think neon purple is like one of the rarest neon colors out there, so I'm not surprised that Prisma doesn't have neon purple. I think I do like how cute I made this dragon. Obviously, it's not very detailed or anything, but I think it looks pretty cool in the end. And something I didn't mention is I didn't actually have a thicker blue in neon, like I had all the other ones with a brush tip and like a fine point, except for the blue. So I grabbed another like zebra branded thing to make thicker blue lines on the dragon side. All right, so let's go over what we did today. First, we did Why Not Simple, where I drew my puppy in my chibi art style. Then we did What is Opposite, where I did Night and Day. Ooh, sparkly. And then finally, I did Whose Tattoo Is This, where I did some neon tattoo designs. I think this week, the tattoo one is my favorite, but I think they were all pretty good. Like, I'm happy with how all of them turned out. Let me know what one was your favorite. But that is going to be it for me today. If you guys want to check out the last episode of How Much Art Can You Make, you could tap the thumbnail here. If you want to catch up on anything you missed, you could tap the thumbnail here. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to do all the cool YouTube things of commenting, liking, subscribing, and turning on that notification bell. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!